It has just gone 8 o'clock Central African time. Good evening and welcome to the news bulletin at 8, brought to you by Eswatini TV. My name is Saneboy Ngwana alongside Nomakabiso Ngambule. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. We're coming to you live from our Hospital Hill studios in Mbabane, and these are your top stories tonight. There are 3 human trafficking cases that have been reported in the country this year. The Minister for Education encourages teachers to get vaccinated against COVID-19. And the Minister for Commerce says government will consider providing shops with security to ensure their safety. And now the news in detail. The Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini says in the current year, 3 cases of human trafficking have been identified, and these include 2 domestic cases involving minor Eswatini girls and 1 international case which involves a minor girl from Mozambique.
This year's theme, as announced by the United Nations, is Victims' Voices Lead the Way. This theme highlights the importance of victim identification, timely rescue, and care. People trafficking continues to be a major issue across the globe. The Prime Minister, Cleopas Dlamini, says in the Kingdom of Eswatini, there has been an increase in the number of reported missing persons, including children. He says the risk that the missing persons may be victims of trafficking cannot be ruled out. He says in the current year, there have been 3 cases of human trafficking that have been identified.
In the current year, for example, we have identified 3 cases, 2 domestic trafficking cases involving minor Eswatini girls and 1 international trafficking case which involved a minor girl of Mozambican origin. From the domestic cases, 1 involves 3 minors, and the suspect was convicted and sentenced to 55 years imprisonment. Another case involved 4 minors and is pending before court. It is disheartening to note that the girl child seems to be the primary target of such malicious criminals, and this therefore calls for government and her partners to further strengthen our interventions to protect the girl child in particular.
The Prime Minister says the government, working with international partners such as the International Organization for Migration, has been able to identify a shelter for trafficking victims, which is currently in the final stages of refurbishment. He says apart from housing victims, this shelter will be utilized to offer moral, emotional, and medical support to victims of human trafficking. Reporting, I'm Lungile Makakula with Muzim Konda in Mbabane.
The Minister of Commerce, Mangoba Kumalo, says government will look into providing shops with security for safety purposes. The minister was touring affected businesses at Tobelweni as a result of the recent unrest where the issue of threats of businesses arose and remains a concern.
Following a series of looting and destruction of businesses a couple of weeks ago in the country, which led to a series of businesses hugely affected, the Minister of Commerce, Mangoba Kumalo, toured the Sitobela area, which was also not spared from the violence. The minister started by Cash Hardware stores, where he was told that everything inside was taken, but some items have since been recovered. He proceeded to another shop where everything was taken as well, and same applies to a local butchery. The minister applauded the businesses for slowly coming back into operation and encouraged them never to give up, assuring them that government will assist them.
It is extremely disappointing to see years of very hard work and effort by young and old entrepreneurs from this area who are quite vibrant, being let down by this spate of violence. We encourage them not to give hope. We encourage them that the speech that His Majesty gave from Esibayeni was restoring confidence that His Majesty's government will rise to the occasion and assist them through the 500 million Emalangeni fund that His Majesty established. And we explained the process that we are going to follow, and we also encouraged them to finish their police reports and have accurate information that will be used as a basis for the claims that we will assist them.
Sithobela Member of Parliament Bili Dlamini says no shop was left unlooted at Sithobela just at a time when Sithobela was slowly becoming a semi-town. He says Sithobela has a population of over 38,000 and is fast growing. Senzo Mamba spoke on behalf of business owners asking for security, which is their major plea. The Minister of Commerce assures all businesses that they will benefit in the 500 million Mpumalanga Recovery Program Fund. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian MCB, Sithobelweni.
The Minister for Education, Lady Howard Mabuza, encourages educators to visit their designated vaccine sites to get vaccinated. Mabuza was also urged teachers to continue adhering to the COVID-19 regulations even after vaccination. The Minister was speaking during the educators and support staff vaccination rollout. Our reporter Sontom Langeni has more on that story.
The vaccination program for educators and support staff was launched by the Minister for Education, Lady Howard. In her speech, the Minister commended the relations that exist between the Kingdom of Eswatini and the United States of America as the country received donations of the vaccines. Mabuza urged teachers to get the vaccine.
The Minister of Education and Training will continue to conduct wide-scale monitoring of schools in partnership with the Minister of Health to ensure that precautions and safety measures against the COVID-19 pandemic are maintained at all levels. If we do the monitoring right, it will serve as an early warning system to beef up an immediate response where there are apparent shortages. We highly appreciate the continued support in ensuring our schools are safe. Today, I wish to encourage all educators to visit the sites designated for vaccination. The exercise will start on the 2nd of August and end on the 6th of August. We urge you, teachers, that after the vaccination, you continue adhering to the safety protocols. We also thank Teachers and Principals Union for the continued support. And we also urge teachers to be patient with the ministries as the program is being rolled out.
The Director for Health, Dr. Vusi Makakula, says it is government's plan to vaccinate all the sectors, especially frontline workers. He says that the vaccination process for educators will run from the 2nd of August till the 6th of this month. Eswatini Principal Association's President, Welcome Mhlanga, commended the government of Eswatini for securing the vaccine for educators. The minister stated that educators should visit nearest designated places as the ministry identified a number of vaccination sites. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni with Vuminkosi Nzinisa in Babane.
The Director of Health Services, Dr. Vusi Makakula, has urged companies to engage the Ministry of Health about the private sector rollout program. Makakula says the ministry is working hard in ensuring that the private sector is not left behind from this vaccination exercise, as the private sector plays a major role in sustaining the country's economy.
The Ministry of Health continues in its effort to roll out COVID-19 vaccine to different sectors in the country, as the ministry is in the process of vaccinating frontline workers currently. The private sector has not been left behind, as it is expected that in the next few days the rollout process should start. The Director for Health, Dr. Vusi Makakula, says companies should get in touch with the ministry, as the ministry will have to ensure that vaccination standards are kept.
So it will just provide some sort of supervision there and logistics support. Let's umjovo bona bayakwadela bakhona bona bana bonesi bana konke lokho but asebatendela so kuzodependa lo ntamba kusho kuzodependa kulelo ngabhanda ukuthi ikhamba kanjani, but it's we're there to provide the technical assistance to make sure those standards are kept na kujova and all. Ngoba in private sector ibaluleke kakhulu simile nangayo ngeke vele sala vele kokugcina nje ngasho ukuthi uhulumende umgomo wakhe uthi wonke umuntu lona minyaka lengu 18 and above utawugcina ajovile. within this period. Lobo kuyinkinga nje bokwangilokhu limit wangile mijovo isangatholakali kahle seyeta setawufika naleminye izawuqhubeka ifike atawujova onke eMaswati lafaka ekhathi basically lokho lokuthi bathi abasinze tiko letempilo ngokuthi nakusi nje.
The Ministry of Health's daily update states that on Thursday, the country had over 27,000 people who have received 2 doses of AstraZeneca. Over 38,000 people have received the first dose. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangen with Vuminkosi Nzinisa in Babane.
The Public Accounts Committee in Parliament has instructed the Ministry of Education and the Auditor General's Office to scrutinize the school's audit report, to only allow head teachers who had embezzled funds to appear before them. Our reporter Lenton Gule has more on that story.
When the Public Accounts Committee resumed its parliamentary business on Friday, the chairperson of the committee, Honorable Pilar Teles, implored the Minister of Education and Training to convene a meeting with the Auditor General's Office to scrutinize the school's audit report for 2018, so that only schools before the end of the week.
Na umuntu nesikhulumba ngiyabhekisa ubhakazi kalala ubhakabani nakafuna sihlabathi tishela athi zikala uyasifuna isihlabathi noma usifuni asitishela lethe i-receipt invoice ne quotation hamba ufunela abanye ikhulumba zintathu ngilokhenza lo shipping kuba likhunyana chairperson but asikukhuthati because now ukangena kuthotha kwetinguni. Now ungathi wena blanket authority ukuthi yibo head teacher nanifuna tinkuni tithengene receipt or no receipt utawumangala lokukhanzana kuntabo 20,000 chairperson ngoba kutabe sebakunenge ukuthi wavuma steward ukuthi tinkuni sport ithenga without receipt without invoice manje ke lento yadzinga ukuthi September.
Another recommendation that was made by the PSC was that the ministry, it's high time they should look into the criteria that is used when selecting members of school committees, because most of the time the chairpersons are not familiar or they are not capacitated in dealing with financial matters. Thus, head teachers embezzle funds in full view of the committee. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Lincoln Gule in Parliament.
The late Tembi Bili, who was the head of programs at Eswatini TV, had been described by her family and colleagues as a loving person who was passionate about her job. A memorial service was held at the Light for the World Church in Babane.
Tembi Bili will be remembered for her passion and her determination when executing her job. She was born in 1960 and she attended her primary school at Mpra and her high school at Swazi National High School. Before she joined EPIS, Tembi worked for the Ministry of Agriculture, the Department of Veterinary Services. At EPIS, she started as a radio host and she became the head of programs many years later. She started working at Eswatini TV in 2017, where she was head of programs. Bili has a BA Honours degree in Media Studies, which she attained in London, a radio and TV training certificate, and she also studied management studies at Stellenbosch. Reverend Jacob Slope, who spoke on behalf of the family, says the family is shattered on the loss of Tembi. Peshaya Dube, who spoke on behalf of her colleagues at EPIS, says Tembi was passionate about her job and made sure her product was up to standard.
Lendlela bewuthanza ngawo lo msebenzi iresearch yakhe abephuma aze ayoyicela ngaphandle.
The acting CEO at Eswatini TV, Kenneth Mazia, says Bili had impressive leadership skills.
Umuntu lebekade akwati ku leader i-team yakhe esikhathini lesiningi makehluphe abekwadi ukucondzisa umuntu.
Her son, Zama, who his speech was read by his relative, says he's thankful to her mother for the teachings and for the love.
Leke lokning kuko konke noko mabheki liciniso lithi awuzange songifundise lendlela lengicala manje. No words can describe the feeling I have when I realize that you are normal. It's a feeling like no other.
All the speakers conveyed their condolences to the Hlophe family and Eswatini TV. Reporting Mlungelele Makakula with Muzim Konda in Babane.
The chairperson of the religious COVID-19 task team, Bishop Samson Tlachwago, encourages Christians to get the COVID-19 vaccination. Tlachwago says that those who do not believe in medical assistance should think twice as cases of COVID-19 increases.
Of COVID-19, as per the Ministry of Health's daily reports, the COVID-19 religious task team's chairperson, Bishop Samson Tlachwago, has encouraged pastors to ensure that the COVID-19 regulations are adhered to in churches. Tlachwago says Christians are encouraged to take the COVID-19 jab.
Ngoba kuyabulala uyashanyela lo khona nje manje uyashanyela mbamba ayaphele emaswati nawubuka nje emlangeni ukuthi le nombolo letholakala kongelanga labantu bayafa befike ku8 ilanga linye 7 5 abehli ngaphansi kwa5 angalalike lamaswati basibancane nangabe sifanga lendlela asikhuthaleni maswati sihambe sinojova nebazalwane futhi ngiyabaxwayisa ukuthi abaqhubeke nalokugcina lemithetho kaHeli ukuthi emasontweni abo vele bayihlalele 1.5 meter noma 2 meters ukhweshelwane nangabe vele udiva unemkhuhlane ungayi lesontweni uye esibhedlela nawuva ukuthi uyakhwehlela nje hambe esibhedlela batofike bakuteste ukuthi kusengumkhuhlane noma sengumkhuhlane lokhona babafundisi mlangeni bona bazalwane balalela kakhulu kumfundisi emabandleni ibandla letingozo tangemasonto abathi bawungena evini lenkosi bekwedlule live lenkosi lokujova babakhuthade imihla nemihla ukuthi khuthalani basane nojova.
Tlachwago further encouraged churches that do not believe in medical assistance to reconsider their beliefs as the COVID-19 pandemic kills. Tlachwago further encouraged pastors to motivate church members to take the jab as this can only save their lives. Tlachwago urged Emaswati to avoid listening to myths about the vaccine.
The Municipal Council of Mbabane has added a COVID-19 testing kiosk in its premises aimed at enabling easy access for Mbabane residents' COVID-19 testing. Now, this was said by Mbabane Town Council's PRO, Lakitsa Betsa. Our reporter, KMCB, has more on that story.
With the daily increasing numbers of people who have contracted COVID-19, the Municipal Council of Mbabane has added yet another COVID-19 testing kiosk in the municipal's premises in order to have easy access of testing if one suspects symptoms. The Municipal Council's Communications Officer, Lakitsa Betse, says this will provide instant results.
We've got a kiosk at Msunduza Hall, and we have another one at the council office is just behind. Then there's a third one at Fontaine Social Center. Then we also have another one at Eswatini Social Center, just towards Waterford Gamhlaba. Then we have a fifth kiosk at Nkwalini Social Center. The operating hours are between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. What is offered there are basically instant results, or what is called rapid testing. So the type of people that we expect to be attended there are individuals that believe that they've been in contact with a person that has been confirmed to be having COVID-19. Yes. Then lastly, I should emphasize, Kiani, that we have seen a trend that many people seem to flock to the kiosk behind council offices, and it's causing a queue at the kiosk, something which is not good these days.
As of Thursday this week, there were 24,448 people, or rather confirmed cases since the outbreak of the pandemic last year, and 20,476 recoveries with 3,600 active cases and 251 currently admitted. I am Kian MC for Eswatini TV News, Mbabane.
Matsanjeni High School Principal Mandlenkosi Dlamini has been accused of using school funds amounting to 18,000 malangeni to fill his car with petrol. Dlamini appeared before the Public Accounts Committee. Our reporter Linton Kule has more on that story.
Another school that appeared before the Public Accounts Committee on Friday was Matsanjeni High School, where the head teacher Mandlenkosi Dlamini is being accused by the Auditor General for using school funds amounting to over 18,000 malangeni to fill his car with petrol. The chairperson of the committee informed the PAC that they sat down as a committee and resolved that they were not going to hire any vehicles so that the teacher can be able to carry out school's errands, be it Hlangano or Mbabane, but they were going to give him petrol money.
Sabukisana nge-transport ukuthi thishela kumahamba emgwaqeni sabutana before ukuthi ingabe sentanjani le moto ngoba phela yakadlamini akusiye esikole uma aphuma yakamathatha sethamalini i-transport uya enhlangano i-transport ingalini imbabane yabo exams council wherever ka-education imali savumelana ngesathatha sinqumo sibuka nako-ke udisekhula lesikhomanda ukuthi angakhipha so much
sikhuluma iqiniso la headmaster wethu ngemali esikole uhlala enhlangano avuka emsebenzini kalavumisa abuye ntamba amaye ekhaya ethe kumbe after 2 days ngakuyabonakala 3 days la sophela ipetrol aphinde ethe
authority lengengisayina every now and then chairperson yabo thishela labasebenzisa imoto dabo kuye emsebenzini claims, and I'm not sure what's the principal, maybe it's double dipping in ngoba ikhona le standard vele laba claim up, and then lapha naso sokubuka uzumhlonishwa nje bekisa ukuthi ngabe kuhle ahamba nebhasini umuntu lomkhulu head teacher imoto letha 1000 chairperson lithanga elinye nabo 1200 kuhle kwethana labanye abantu labo bokhumalo simphiwe ngiyabekisa nje chairperson banengela abantu labanye mhlambe idubukele indlela chairperson. This is very shocking.
The principal secretary in the Ministry of Education, Bertram Stewart, informed the PAC that he's puzzled by these developments because now and again he signs claim forms for government employees, including head teachers in the ministry, those who are using their personal cars for the ministry's errands. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Linton Kule, Parliament.
Let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, the news continues. Stay with us.
Get soft, silky skin at amazing prices. Buy any 3 Bramley tissue oils for just 55. Another unbelievable deal? Get Bramley body butter for only $15.99. Treat yourself to more in-store. Life's better with Pep.
Life's better with Pep. You've been supporting us since we opened our doors, so we're here for you. 1,000 Spar customers will win their shopping for free, instantly, with Spar Rewards. Come in and get Nestle Cremora for only $29.99 and 1 liter liquid fruit. Buy any 2 for just 35 emalangeni. We're here for you.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by Eswatini TV. Now we take a look at news making headlines in the world of sports. Swimming national team duo of Sumanga Dlamini and Robin Young have been both knocked out of the Tokyo Olympic Games after their performance in the 50 meters freestyle. Both swimmers says it was a great experience to take part of a big tournament like the Olympics for the very first time.
The two national team swimmers entered the Olympic Games for their very first time in their history. The 23-year-old Sumanga Dlamini was the first to compete, where in his heat he managed to beat his personal best and finished the 50 meters in 26.94 seconds. The 20-year-old Robin Young was the second to compete in a women's heat and finished after 30.41 seconds. Inasmuch as the journey for the two swimmers has come to an end in the Olympics tournament this year, they both acknowledged that they learned a lot in their first experience. Coach Welcome Hlabatsi also believes the exposure of being at the Olympic Games will help them in the future.
It was a very interesting event. The standard is too high, but in the competition akafani. Some days wenda kahle kakhulu, some days wenda.
The next and last athlete to represent the Kingdom of Eswatini will be Subsiso Matsenjwa, known as Swazipot, who has landed in Japan this Friday and is expected to compete on the 3rd of August this year. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera with Linda Dlamini, pictures sourced from a team in Tokyo.
Rugby national team head coach Steve Reynolds says lack of better preparations due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic was the main factor for the country to pull out of the 2023 Rugby World Cup qualifiers that were held in Burkina Faso. Reynolds says the team will once again return to compete internationally from next year. Reynolds was speaking to Eswatini TV Sports in Mbabane.
Rugby national team was in the same group with Botswana, Cameroon, Burundi and host nation Burkina Faso. Sizeze ended up pulling out of the qualifiers. Head coach Steve Reynolds says the sport was suspended for about 15 months, which resulted in the team not getting proper preparations for the games.
The third wave and everything has really hit again. We were due to go. We can't compete this year. No, we're going to have to wait until I think it's next year. The next Africa Cup is next year. So hopefully things will have cleared up by then, and we're allowed to train, play, travel.
Reynolds went on to highlight that recent reports in some of the local media suggesting that the country has a number of international rugby players are indeed true.
Some of them are over in South Africa. They're playing over there. But then we've got guys either working away or at university in the UK, in Cyprus. So bringing them back at this moment in time because of COVID and travel restrictions is very, very difficult.
The head coach concluded highlighting that preparations for the league currently are ongoing, which will result in seeing the national team being active once again from next year. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera with Linda Dlamini, Mbabane.
Well, Eswatini TV, we conclude our news bulletin with the sports news. But before we go, here's a quick recap of our news making headlines tonight. There are 3 human trafficking cases that have been reported in the country this year. The Minister for Education encourages teachers to get vaccinated against COVID-19. And the Minister for Commerce says government will consider providing shops with security to ensure their safety. Beautiful Kingdom of Eswatini, we bring you the conclusion of our news bulletin at 8 at Eswatini TV. We shall conclude by going to the weather center to get a detailed weather report from us and the rest of the transmission crew at Eswatini TV. For now, it's good night and God bless.